In the media conference with Lal Goyal, which is brought to you by V4 News, Global TV, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV, News Gaon Se, Samvad Sarokar News, Organ Donation India Foundation and Gyan, our endeavor is to enlighten you with the current topic. And today, everybody knows the election fever is on. There are elections on in 5 assembly and in those 5 assemblies, one of the biggest assembly is the West Bengal. So today our topic is West Bengal elections. West Bengal is a state in the eastern region of India along the Bay of Bengal. With over 91 million inhabitants, it is the fourth most populous state and the 14th largest state by area in India. Covering an area of 88,752 square kilometer, it is also the seventh most populous country subdivision of the world. Part of the Bengal region of the Indian subcontinent, it borders Bangladesh in the east and Nepal and Bhutan in the north. It also borders the Indian states of Odisha, Jharkhand, Bihar, Sikkim, and Assam. Legislative Assembly elections for 294 seats of the West Bengal Legislative Assembly are scheduled to be held between 27th March to 29th April 2021 in 8 phases. Outlined in Article 168 of the Constitution of India, the West Bengal Legislative Assembly is the only house of the unicameral legislature of West Bengal and not a permanent body and subject to dissolution. The tenure of the Legislative Assembly is 5 years from the date appointed for its first sitting unless dissolved sooner. Members of the Legislative Assembly are directly elected by the people. The tenure of current West Bengal Legislative Assembly is scheduled to end on 30th May 2021. In the previous elections in 2016, the All India Trinamool Congress, AITC, retained its majority in the Legislative Assembly with 211 seats. The Indian National Congress won 44 seats and the Left Front won 33 seats, fighting within an alliance. While the Bharatiya Janata Party and the Gorkha Jan Mukti Morcha each managed to win only 3 of the 294 seats. However, in the 2019 general elections, TMC won 22 and the BJP won 18 of 42 Lok Sabha seats in West Bengal. Bagging 40% of the vote share, an increase from the previous time, and in by-elections from 2016 to 2021, BJP had also increased their seats in the Legislative Assembly by 15 as of 2020. In 2019, the Bharatiya Janata Party-led union government passed the Citizenship Amendment Act 2019 CAA in the Indian Parliament, promising citizenship to Hindu immigrants from Bangladesh and hoping to provide them with habitation. The BJP's Bengali booklet released in January 2020 claimed the National Register of Citizens will be implemented to identify the undocumented migrants, but Hindu, Sikh, Buddhist, Christian, Jain, and Parsi will be shielded by the Citizenship Amendment Act. They have their homelands secured. The COVID-19 pandemic also became an election issue. The government of West Bengal was accused of fudging with the number of coronavirus disease 2019, positive patients and death tolls by the opposition. In May 2020, Cyclone Amphan hit the state a year before elections. After the passing away of the cyclone, widespread allegations of mismanagement and relief scam were seen. Protests broke out in various districts of the state over these allegations. The opposition made it an election issue ahead of the assembly polls. Rebellion and dissatisfaction of many Trinamool leaders are also likely to impact the elections. Mamata Banerjee on Wednesday released the election manifesto of the party, promising a minimum monthly income if voted to power. Under this scheme, which is remodeling of Congress Universal Basic Income Promise of Lok Sabha election 2019, the woman guardian of every family general category will get rupees 500 every month, while the amount will be rupees 1,000 for SC, ST, OBC families. Apart from that, about 5 lakhs jobs will be generated. The manifesto promises a student credit card of rupees 10 lakh at only 4% interest, where the government will be the guarantor. Parents will not have to worry about it. A boon was promised to farmers too. Rupees 10,000 per acre per annum to all small and marginal ones, though through the Krishak Bandhu scheme. At the moment, they get rupees 6,000 per annum. Among Ms. Banerjee's other promises was the setting up of 10 lakh new MSMEs and 2,000 new big industrial units in the state over the next 5 years. In the MSME sector, we are number one. We have created lakhs of jobs in the MSME sector, said Mamata Banerjee. In the housing sector, a big promise was made too. 25 lakh low-cost house to be built, equipped with drinking water on the tap and improved drainage. She also promised home delivery of rations to 1.5 crore families. Rations are now free. There will be no charge for home delivery. According to the Chief Minister, Ms. Mamata Banerjee, I quote, "We are creating a world-class economy in Bengal. We want to create new jobs and a new path for the youth of Bengal. We have fallen back because of COVID-19 pandemic," unquote. The Chief Minister, whose Trinamool Congress is seeking a third state term in power in face of a massive BJP challenge. Pointing to the metro project in the city, which have generated massive employment, Ms. Mamata Banerjee said all of those were sanctioned by her when she was the rail minister. West Bengal will for the first time see a chief minister and a fiery leader who never bows down hit the campaign trail in a wheelchair. Mamata in a wheelchair is an image that may evoke extreme public sympathy, as is being felt by many in Trinamool, and the opposition understands this well. The senior leaders in BJP, the Congress, and the CPM discarded the incident in Nandigram as a drama to draw sympathy. The only manifesto till now, at this moment of Thursday morning at 10:37 a.m. was released by Trinamool Congress. Neither Congress, Left Party, or BJP has released their manifesto, although this manifesto of Trinamool Congress was supposed to be released earlier, but because of the incident happened at Nandigram, where Ms. Mamata Banerjee was hurt, this was delayed. And because of this delay, the other parties also delayed their manifesto. They are waiting that what Ms. Mamata Banerjee will promise, and accordingly they will come out. Let's hope that they will also come out with their manifestos. Problems also brew in BJP. Supporters of the BJP held angry protest outside the BJP party's election office in Kolkata all day on this Monday. Even heckled senior leaders Mukul Roy, Arjun Singh, and Shiv Prakash to protest against the fielding of a large number of former Trinamool leaders as BJP candidates. Now, we are taking what is the opinion poll says. West Bengal ABP C voter opinion poll results of 2021. In terms of seats, ruling TMC is expected to get somewhere between 150 to 166 seats in the 294 member assembly, thus indicating a clear majority to TMC led by Ms. Mamata Banerjee. During last assembly polls, Mamata Banerjee's party managed to get as many as 211 seats. Meanwhile, the BJP looks to increase its presence in the state, which survey indicates that the Saffron party may get somewhere between 98 to 114 seats in the upcoming assembly polls. In 2016, BJP managed to get only 3 seats in West Bengal. The ABP survey also highlighted that the Congress plus Left Alliance is likely to get between 23 to 31 seats in the assembly polls. in 2016 assembly polls, the alliance managed to secure 76 seats in West Bengal. The other surveys, that is the Time Now See Voter, which was done in March only, gives TMC 154 seats, BJP 107 seats, and left and Congress 19 seats. Sorry, 33 seats. NK Digital gives, which was done in February, gives TMC 192 seats, BJP 69 seats, and left and Congress 30 seats. Times Democracy, in February, they have given TMC 151 seats, 131 to BJP and 12 to Congress and left. But there are two polls which are giving BJP a clear edge. One is Crowd Wisdom 360, which is saying that TMC will get 134 seats, BJP 136 seats, and left and Congress 19 seats. And one is Ankit Sharma University poll, which says they all were conducted in February, except the first two, which I told you, the ABP See Voter and Times Now See Voter, conducted in March. Now this Ankit Sharma Universal poll says 120 to TMC, 161 to BJP, and 13 to left and INC. And one more, that is called Priya Bandhu, conducted in February, says TMC will get 82, BJP will get 185, and left and Congress 24. So according to, if we will take the average of all these surveys, the TMC will get 142, BJP will get 128, and left and Congress will get very less, the balance. Now, to discuss this West Bengal elections, we have a very elite, learned, and those who have full knowledge about the West Bengal politics in and out panel with us. And I would like to invite my first panelist. He is Dr. Rajiv Anand. Dr. Rajiv Anand is the senior psychiatrist and marriage counselor. Dr. Rajiv Anand passed his MBBS in 1976 and did MD in psychiatry in 1980 from King's George Medical College, Lucknow. He opted to serve his country when it was very common to settle abroad for brighter future. He has been serving society with a base in Mumbai. He has clients all over India as well as in many other countries. He was honored with Lifetime Achievement Award by AMA. He has conducted more than 3,000 workshops for different groups and companies with audience size of 10 to 800. His television program on various channels have been widely appreciated for his forthright and practical approach. He is leading in the field of mental and emotional well-being for 40 years. He was president of IMA for 2 times. He was interviewed in several talk shows in domestic and internationally. Welcome, Dr. Rajiv Anand, on our show. Please unmute yourself, Dr. Rajiv Anand. Dr. Rajiv Anand. Please unmute. You have muted the video. You have to unmute yourself and switch on the video. Dr. Rajiv Anand, as you might have heard what report I have read, and the report clearly indicates that the elections, which are going to be in 8 phases, and according to the Election Commission as well as the reports which have come, this was done because they have a fear of violence in West Bengal, and that's why this election is in 8 phases. Now, you are having lots of patients, your friends, your associates from West Bengal. And last week, when we have done on the West Bengal culture and tradition, also the program, the views which you have expressed were very, very important. So we would like to know from you now, the West Bengal election. Dr. Rajiv Anand, please.
Good morning, Mr. Lal. Thank you very much. I'm really very impressed today that in today's media conference, we have 2 psychiatrists. Welcome, Dr. O.P. Singh. We have 1 advocate, Rinki Dev, and we have one plastic surgeon, Surjit Ji from Lucknow, and we have one IT professional. It's a very good combination of people who are very responsible citizens. I don't claim that I know West Bengal politics very well. I'm just a observer. I'm just a responsible civilian. I just, like any one of us, keep a watch on what is happening around. But I'm interested in what is really happening, unfolding, and I feel amused at times. I wouldn't feel like wasting any other emotion, but for laughing at what is happening in West Bengal. Where have we come? हिंदी का गाना है ना, ये हम कहाँ आ गए? क्योंकि जो वेस्ट बंगाल में इलेक्शन हो रहा है वो शायद इस मैग्नीट्यूड में या इस तरह की सिनेरियो में इससे पहले कमी स्टेट में कमी देखा गया है. Whether Mr. Lal or me or Mr. O.P. Singh, Dr. O.P. Singh or Surjit Ji or Megang, we all have seen in our childhood election का एक अलग सीन होता था. दिवाली, होली, ईद, दशहरे के बाद अगर पूरा समाज एक साथ इकट्ठा होता था और कई हफ्तों तक शहर में कुछ फेस्टिविटीज होती थी, वो झालर लटकती थी, दीवानों पर पोस्टर होते थे, लाउड स्पीकर पर म्यूजिक चलता था, वो एक शामियाना तनात लगा के लोग उसमें कुर्सी पर जमीन पर बैठते थे. और इलेक्शन एक ऐसा ओकेजन था जिसमें समाज के सभी वर्ग और सभी धर्म के लोग एक साथ इकट्ठे होते थे अपनी अपनी जिम्मेदारी से रोल को पूरा करने के लिए कि कौन हम लोगों के अगले चुनिंदे प्रतिनिधि हों, नुमाइंदे हों, चाहे वो कॉर्पोरेशन में हो, चाहे वो असेंबली में हो, चाहे वो पार्लियामेंट में हो. लेकिन अब सीन बदल गया है. हमें ऐसा लगता है कि पहले सब लोग इलेक्शन में जुड़ते थे और जुड़कर चुनते थे अच्छे लोगों को, लेकिन अब दुर्भाग्य से हम लोग क्या देख रहे हैं? Dr. O.P. Singh would agree with me that we deal with human emotions, we deal with human life, and we feel concerned about what matters to human life through their different emotions. What we are seeing, witnessing in West Bengal, and I'm not partisan to either party or any other party, neither I'm a member of BJP nor I'm a member of TMC, but I really feel concerned कि जो इमोशंस आजकल हम लोगों को देखने को मिल रहे हैं, सुनने को मिल रहे हैं, उसमें पॉजिटिव इमोशन तो गायब हो गए. जुड़ने के, फ्यूचर के बारे में जिम्मेदारी महसूस करने के, एक समाज को अच्छे से अच्छी सरकार देने के, अच्छे से अच्छा हम उनको शासन दें, अच्छे से अच्छा उनके बारे में कुछ सोचे, वो सारे इमोशन तो गायब हो गए. किसी एक का म्यूट अनम्यूट है किसी एक एंड पर, तो प्लीज टेक केयर. अब जो इमोशन हम देख रहे हैं रोजाना वो क्या है? हम लोग रोज देखते हैं कोई किसी को अब्यूज कर रहा है, कोई किसी को असॉल्ट कर रहा है, बहुत ज्यादा डर है, बहुत ज्यादा इनसिक्योरिटी है, अनसर्टेनिटी है फ्यूचर के बारे में लोगों के मन में. कहीं कहीं स्पोरेडिक वायलेंस भी हैं, कहीं कहीं पर मर्डर भी हैं. क्या ये इलेक्शन सीन वाकई में इलेक्शन सीन है या कुछ और है? क्योंकि जो हमने देखा है छोटी सी जिंदगी में, कितनी जिंदगी, हमने कोई 200-300 साल तो जी नहीं. हम लोग की उम्र कितनी है? हमने जो बचपन में देखा है और देखते आए हैं, वहां इलेक्शन को लड़ना नहीं कहते थे, वहां कंटेस्ट करना कहते थे कि मैं इलेक्शन कंटेस्ट कर रहा हूँ. हमने भी स्कूल में, यूनिवर्सिटी में, मेडिकल कॉलेज में इलेक्शन लड़े हैं, लेकिन उसको लड़ना नहीं कहा जाता था, उसे कंटेस्ट करना कहा जाता था. आजकल हम लोग लैंग्वेज यूज करते हैं, आई एम फाइटिंग इन इलेक्शन. और फाइटिंग में क्या हो गया कि हम जीतने से ज्यादा दूसरे को हराने में ज्यादा इंटरेस्टेड है. हम अपने जीतने से ज्यादा हम दूसरे को हराने से ज्यादा इंटरेस्टेड है. वहां पे इलेक्शन की थीम ये हो गई कि हमें दूसरे इंसान को किल करना है, दूसरे इंसान की कपड़े उतारने, दूसरे इंसान की कमियां ढूंढनी है, दूसरे इंसान को उस हद तक नंगा कर देना है कि लोग कहें कि ये बेकार है. यानी कि वो बचपन में सुनते थे कि अपनी लाइन को हम बड़ी नहीं कर सकते तो दूसरे की लाइन को छोटा कर दें. तो कहीं ये मेंटलिटी आ गई है कि हम अगर अच्छे कैंडिडेट हैं और हमने अच्छे काम किए हैं तो स्वाभाविक है कि जनता हमें चुनेगी. तो मैं एक बिल्कुल निष्पक्ष भाव से और सभी नेताओं से, जिसमें दीदी भी हैं, जिसमें हमारे बीजेपी के भी सब लोग हैं, जिसमें हमारी टीएमसी के भी हैं, जिसमें हमारे कांग्रेस के भी हैं, सीपीएम के, कि जरा रुककर सोचिए सोचिए क्या आप हमारे लीडर होने का सही रोल निभा रहे हैं? क्या आप हमें सही मार्गदर्शन कर रहे हैं? क्या हमें सही अब अच्छे भविष्य की आशा जगा रहे हैं? या कहीं पर ऐसा तो नहीं है कि हम लोग उदासीन, इंडिफरेंट होते जा रहे हैं, कोई भी आए सब एक जैसे निकलेंगे? काफी जनता ये कहने लगी है, सोचने लगी है कोई भी आए हमें क्या फर्क होना है. सीन वही रहने वाला है. ऐसा ना हो कि पब्लिक इलेक्शन से उदास हो जाए. काफी लोगों ने सुना होगा कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट में एक पीआई लगाई गई कि अगर नोटा के वोट, none of the above, नोटा के वोट किसी भी कैंडिडेट से ज्यादा हो जाएंगे तो क्या इलेक्शन दोबारा होगा? तो कहीं ऐसा ना हो कि पब्लिक इलेक्शन के सीन से भाग जाए। अब वापस आते हैं हम लोग वेस्ट बंगाल की पॉलिटिक्स के बारे में, वेस्ट बंगाल के इलेक्शन के बारे में। हम में से सिर्फ एक यहाँ पर बैठे हुए हैं, डॉक्टर ओपी सिंह, जो कलकत्ता निवासी हैं, तो उनको कलकत्ता की सबसे ज्यादा ग्राउंड रियलिटी से जानकारी है। बाकी मृगांक और सुरजीत जो हैं और रिंकी देव, by virtue of their birth as a Bengali and settled in Lucknow and Bombay, they have connections, they have inroads over there, they are well versed with the Bengal. जो हमें लगता है दूर से बैठे हुए टीवी के माध्यम से, वहाँ ये है कि आने वाले भविष्य में हम क्या कर सकते हैं, हम उसकी बात करें। हम बजाय पार्टी पॉलिटिक्स की बात करें, हम दूसरी पार्टी की क्या गलतियां की उसकी बात करें, हम आने वाले भविष्य में क्या किया जा सकता है उसकी बात करें। जनता को जो पुरानी कहावत है कि रोटी कपड़ा मकान, अच्छी सड़कें, अच्छा साफ पानी मिले, हमें बंगाल जाने का शौक रहा है और जब मौका मिलता है हम साल 2 साल में जाते हैं। और शहर के अलावा हम शहर के बाहर भी जो रोड हैं, गांव भी, सुंदरबन की तरफ भी, जहाँ मौका मिलता है हम जाके वहाँ की ग्राउंड रियलिटी को समझने की कोशिश करते हैं। मेरा कोई इंटरेस्ट नहीं है, मैं डॉक्टर हूँ, मुझे कोई इलेक्शन नहीं लड़ना, लेकिन मैं उस वस्तुस्थिति को समझने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ क्या है। जैसे कि यूपी में इलेक्शन हुए तो हमें ऐसा लगता है, ऐसा हमारा अंदाजा है कि यूपी में इलेक्शन थोड़े सकारात्मक थे, कि यूपी के जो वर्तमान चीफ मिनिस्टर हैं उन्होंने लोगों को बताया था कि हम क्या करेंगे और उन्होंने करके दिखाया जो जो कुछ था। लोगों को अब किसी भी संप्रदाय क्यों, किसी भी समुदाय क्यों, उन सबको नजर आया कि हाँ ये हुआ है। एक बात जो हम सुनने में आ रही है वो उस पर टिप्पणी करना जरूरी है कि अगर केंद्र से बहुत सारी ग्रांट या बहुत सारा फाइनेंसेस भेजे जाते हैं अलग अलग स्कीम में वेस्ट बंगाल के लोगों के लिए, जनता तक पहुंचाने के लिए, तो क्या ऐसे कोई व्यवस्था हो सकती है कि उस सारी स्कीम को एडवर्टाइज किया जाए कि इतना पैसा इस प्रदेश में इतने ड्यूरेशन में भिजवाया गया है और वो इतना पैसा वहां तक पहुंचना है, और उसको फॉलो करके राज्य सरकार भी वेस्ट बंगाल की या किसी भी प्रदेश की बताए कि हाँ इस पैसे का हमने ये उपयोग किया है और ये हमारे पास डॉक्यूमेंटेशन है। अब हम सुनते हैं कि बहुत सारी केंद्र की सरकारों की स्कीम वहां के प्रवासियों तक पहुंची ही नहीं है, चाहे वो घर के बारे में हो, चाहे वो टॉयलेट के बारे में हो, चाहे वो और चीजों के बारे में हो, और राज्य सरकार उसको सही एक्सप्लेनेशन नहीं दे पा रही है। राज्य सरकार दूसरे तरीके से केंद्र सरकार पर अटैक कर रही है। तो एक इलेक्शन से संबंधित एक जरूरी चिंताजनक बात यह है, हम ऐसे समझते हैं केंद्र और राज्य में जो विरोध या कन्फ्लिक्ट नजर आता है वो कम से कम किया जाना चाहिए। इलेक्शन से पहले दोनों दोनों पार्टियां या तीनों पार्टियां, चारों पार्टियां ये सामंजस्य करें कि केंद्र में बैठे हुए लोग देश के दुश्मन नहीं है, देशवासियों के दुश्मन नहीं है। हो सकता है कि आपका राजनीतिक मतभेद हो, लेकिन वो देश के दुश्मन नहीं है कोई भी, या राज्य सरकार में बैठे हुए लोग भी, उनको भी ये अपने आप को खुलकर प्रकट करना है, अपने आप को खुलकर बताना है कि हम राज्य के लोगों के, रहने वाले लोगों के दुश्मन नहीं है, हम उनका भला चाहते हैं। और अगर केंद्र और राज्य की सरकारों के लोग जनता के दुश्मन नहीं है तो फिर मतभेद कहाँ है? फिर ये सब सीन क्यों है जो वेस्ट बंगाल में हो रहा है? क्यों हम इस बात को आज वेस्ट बंगाल के इलेक्शन सीन को इतना खुलकर विस्तार से डिस्कस कर रहे हैं? क्योंकि कहीं ऐसी आशंका है कि ये एक नए रोल मॉडल, ये एक नए मापदंड ना बन जाए। इलेक्शन सीन दिन पर दिन गिरता जा रहा है, इलेक्शन दिन पर दिन घटिया होता जा रहा है। बाकी चीजें जो पहले सुनते थे कि ये दिया जाता है, वो बांटा जाता है, वो चीजें रात को प्रोवाइड की जाती हैं, सुबह आने पर लोग भूल जाते हैं कौन रात को देकर गया था। एक लाइट हल्का फुल्का जोक है, हल्का फुल्का माहौल है कि एक भाई साहब सुबह हल्के से नशे में इलेक्शन के बूथ पर जाकर परेशान थे, शायद किसी अलग समुदाय के या किसी अलग लेवल के एक सोशल इकोनॉमिक रहे होंगे। तो उनसे इलेक्शन वाले जो ऑफिसर था उसने पूछा भाई क्या परेशानी है? बोले भाई वोट देना है मुझे। बोले किसको देना है? बोले याद नहीं आ रहा है, कल रात को कोई मुझे बॉटल देकर गया था, मुझे याद नहीं आ रहा है कौन देकर गया था। अब बॉटल तो उन्होंने पी ली थी लेकिन उनको याद नहीं था देकर कौन गया था। तो कोई ऐसा तो नहीं है कि हम लोग इलेक्शन को दूषित कर रहे हैं अलग अलग तरह के प्रलोभन देकर। हम फिर से सारी जनता को जागरूक करने की, हिंदी में कहते हैं दुहाई, इंग्लिश में कहते हैं अपील करना चाहेंगे। और उससे ज्यादा अपील करना चाहेंगे हम सारे पार्टीज को, जो कि देश वॉच कर रहा है, पूरा देश। It's not just a rhetoric what a TV channel says nation is watching you. No, हम लोग देशवासी, हम लोग जागरूक देशवासी वॉच कर रहे हैं कि इलेक्शन में जो शालीनता होनी चाहिए, जो सभ्यता होनी चाहिए, इलेक्शन का जो अपनी गौरव होना चाहिए, इलेक्शन की जो अपनी एक प्रणाली होनी चाहिए, उसका एक अलग तरीके से एक माध्यम होना चाहिए जिसमें सब लोग स्वेच्छा से शामिल हों, पूरी तरीके से विश्वास करें और सेलिब्रेट करें कि जो भी आएगा किसी भी रंग का, किसी भी पार्टी का, वो हमें पूरे तरीके से सुरक्षा भी देगा और हमारा ख्याल भी रखेगा। हम वापस इस बात को फिर से कहना चाहेंगे सभी पार्टी के, क्योंकि हमें शायद वहाँ की ग्राउंड रियलिटी उतनी तो नहीं पता है, और जो हम सुनते हैं, पढ़ते हैं, उस पर पूरी तरह विश्वास करना भी समझदारी नहीं होगी। कोई कहता है ये पार्टी गुंडों की है, कोई कहता है वो पार्टी गुंडों की है, वो कहते हैं 130 आदमी मारे गए, वो कहते हैं इन्होंने ये किया, वो कहते हैं इन्होंने किया। ये जो कैकोफोनी है, ये जो शोर है, ये जो बहुत ज्यादा चिल्ला चिल्ला कर बताने का एक दूसरे की गलतियों को, ये इलेक्शन नहीं था। ये जनता के प्रतिनिधित्व को चुनने का सबसे बेहतरीन रास्ता नहीं है। आप लोग जो इलेक्शन लड़कर एमएलए बनकर, मुख्यमंत्री बनकर सरकार में, राइटर्स बिल्डिंग में आना चाहते हैं, वो अपने अपने व्यवहार से, अपने जीवन शैली से, अपने विचारों की शैली से हमारा दिल जीतिए। सिर्फ हमारा वोट मत जीतिए, हमारा दिल जीतिए कि हमें गर्व हो कि आप उस शासन पर आए हैं, उस कुर्सी पर आप बैठे हैं। तो अभी भी समय है। जो लोग भी जहाँ भी इस प्रोग्राम को सुन रहे हैं, Mr. Lal had been doing a great job for last almost a year, almost full year. 25th March he has begun, and today is going to be 18th March. एक साल से इतने सारे अच्छे प्रोग्राम कर रहे हैं 6 चैनल के जरिए, केरला में, कर्नाटक में, यूपी में, बिहार में, और ग्लोबल टीवी के जरिए, और यूट्यूब के जरिए, फेसबुक के जरिए। जो लोग भी सुन रहे हैं वो अपने मन को टटोलें। हिंदी का एक शब्द है मन को टटोलें, कि क्या सिर्फ इलेक्शन जीतना ही सब कुछ है? क्या 5 साल की इंसुलेशन मिल जाए कि हमें कोई हटा नहीं पाएगा, क्या वही सब कुछ है? क्या इलेक्शन हम सिर्फ इलेक्शन जीतने के लिए कंटेस्ट करते हैं, या हम समाज में कुछ मौलिक तौर पर, बुनियादी तौर पर परिवर्तन लाने के लिए करते हैं? अगर आप दीदी हैं तो आप दीदी हैं, सबकी बड़ी बहन है। अगर आप देश की सबसे बड़ी पार्टी हैं और देश में सब जगह आपका काफी जगह राज है, तो आपका दायित्व है कि लोगों का विश्वास आप में बढ़े। वो चीज एक समान रूप से, बिल्कुल निष्पक्ष भाव से हम सभी को अपील करना चाहेंगे। इलेक्शन के सीन में और जो बारीकियां हैं वो हमसे ज्यादा बाकी हमारे 4 लोग जो महानुभाव हैं, मृगांक भी, सुरजीत जी भी और रिंकी भी, ओपी सिंह, वो बताएंगे। ओवर टू यू मिस्टर लाल।
Thank you very much, Dr. Anand. And I will just say one thing, that what Dr. Anand means is that the morality of the election has gone down from the year to year, because what used to happen earlier time was not the way which the elections are conducted nowadays. And he has raised few very, very valid and important points, that whatsoever the things but done by the central government and by the state government, everything should be transparent. Thank you very much, Dr. Anand. I will only say that the election commission should see to it that all the political parties should come out with their manifesto, and the manifesto should be made a authentic thing, like when we are giving an undertaking to a court, affidavit to a court. Similarly, once a manifesto, whatsoever is mentioned in the manifesto, it has to be implemented fully, not half-heartedly, or not to just fool the public at large. Thank you very much, Dr. Rajiv Anand. Now I would like to move to my next panelist, and he is Dr. Surjit Bhattacharya. Dr. Surjit Bhattacharya is a leading plastic surgeon. He's a renowned blogger. His blog, A Plastic Surgeon's Random Brainwave, is a very, very popular blog. He was born in Calcutta to parents who immigrated from Dhaka and brought up in Lucknow, and later worked in Australia, UK, and the US before settling for a teaching job in Lucknow. Welcome, Dr. Surjit Bhattacharya on our show. Dr. Bhattacharya, you have heard what Dr. Rajiv Anand has mentioned. Now, we would like to know from you the West Bengal elections. Dr. Surjit Bhattacharya, please.
It is nice to be the second speaker in the string, but unfortunately, I am once again going to be an anti-climatic guy, because I do not think this election is going to change anything. I am not being pessimistic. I am being a realist. The state is perpetually angry and violent, and it is obsessed with the idea of being punished and victimized. Now, why should a state like West Bengal, which has a rich history of excellence in philosophy, art, music, culture, you name it, why should a state like this feel that it is victimized? Can you imagine the role models that this state has produced? Say somebody like starting from Thakur Ramakrishna Paramahansa Dev, Swami Vivekananda, Rabindranath Thakur, Qazi Nazrul Islam, Rishi Aurobindo, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, Raja Ram Mohan Rai, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, Acharya Jagdish Chandra Bose, Acharya Prafulla Chandra Rai, Bankim Chandra, Sharath Chandra Chattopadhyay, Prashant Chandra Mahalanobis, right to Uday Shankar, Ravi Shankar, Satyajit Ray, Hemanta Kumar, Uttam Kumar, Suchitra Sen. The list is unending. If these hallowed personalities have been the role models, then why should their successors feel as victims? It's a very big problem, and it is this problem that has to be addressed. The Bengali intelligentsia, which is called the Buddhijeevis, they hardly ever talk about the state's economic decay, the shut industries, the unimaginable political violence during the election and even after the elections, the lack of job opportunities, and their favorite pastime is reminiscing about their illustrious past. It is this illustrious past which has produced a halo around them, and a halo which unfortunately no more exists. The state has a cultural arrogance that prevails despite the prevailing stagnation and the doom. And it is this reality which the state refuses to acknowledge, and no election is going to change this. Now, there is a history behind this. Why does a Bengali feel that he has been wronged? Let me give you a brief history and then I will come to the solution. It all started well back in 1905 when the Bengal province was divided. And why was the Bengal province divided? Because there were too many Hindu revolutionaries who were making life miserable for East India Company. So they thought that if they stick together, it will be very difficult. Let us subdivide the province. They divided the province and they shifted the capital from Calcutta to Delhi. And Bengal never recovered from that loss of grace. Then the next thing that happened was the World War. Now, you would be surprised to know that war was good for Calcutta, because many industries which were related to the war came to Calcutta during the war. But unfortunately, when the war ended, these industries had nothing to do. And so add to that, Churchill inflicted that famine on Bengal, and that virtually killed the prospects of Bengal. Then came partition. Now, what did the partition do? West Bengal lost its largest port, Chittagong, and the jute fields of East Bengal were cut off from the jute factories of West Bengal. So both Bengals suffered. Then after independence, Nehru had that bright idea of what is called freight equalization policy. This policy came in 1952. And you know what this policy means? It means that if you want to start a steel mill in Mumbai, you will get iron ore at the same price in Mumbai as you would have got if you would have started it in Bengal or Jharkhand. So now the industrialists did not have to come all the way to Bengal to put up the industry. And that again hit Bengal hard. To that, now there was a very cruel zamindari system which was oppressing the Santals and the tribals. And because of this oppression started the Naxalbari movement, which was picked up by Charu Majumdar and his people. And this started the communist regime of West Bengal. There was a Ashok Kumar night in 1968 in Rabindra Sarovar Stadium, which was attacked by the goons of communist and Marxist people. People were murdered, raped, and massacred. And you know what? The CPIM leader, even Jyoti Basu, said that it was the rise of the proletariat against the decadent capitalists and petty bourgeois. So obviously, both the capitalists and the bourgeois left West Bengal, and along with them, they took away all their investments, and so West Bengal was left poor. Mr. Aditya Birla was dragged out of his car. His clothes were torn right in front of Writers' Building. He had to walk 500 meters in his underwear to reach his office. He took the next plane to Mumbai and never returned. So industries closed down, businesses fled, professionals left, and work opportunities disappeared. This is what happened in Bengal. The exodus of the industry was further instigated by the CPIM people, who instigated the laborers to organize gheraos, and strikes were rampant, lockouts were common, and no wonder a whooping number of industries left West Bengal and they never came back. As if that was not enough, came the 1971 Bangladesh War. West Bengal then had a population of 4 crores. Within 60 days, the population became 8 crores. It had equal number of refugees to look for, and that was again adding hardship to Bengal. The Bengal always had a problem of perception. If you ask an outsider, he will say Calcutta is a very troublesome place. It is a lazy city where shopkeepers sleep in the middle of the day, bhat ghum, and people leisurely jaywalk busy roads and the traffic crawls. The television images of protests, bunds, strikes, political killings, and the news of protection money and tolabaji of the local goons and their political patronage is known to everybody today. And that is why people do not want to invest in Bengal. Then what the CPM and their followers did was they tinkered with education. They successfully implemented a system by which they brainwashed the students into unions. Elite institutions like Jadavpur University and Presidency University became political hotbeds and communist echo chambers. Now, I am not against campus politics. I am a huge proponent of campus politics. But campus politics should be 360 degree. There should be an option for the contrarian point of view. And that contrarian point of view was strangled out in West Bengal. Then there was the problem of poor urban development. Why is Kolkata the only metropolitan city in the state? Even a developing state like Uttar Pradesh has Lucknow, Kanpur, Allahabad, Varanasi, Agra, and now Ghaziabad and Noida. If there are so many centers in Uttar Pradesh which attract people for job opportunities, why is it Kolkata the only metropolitan city? Do you know the second largest city in West Bengal? It is Asansol. What is happening in Asansol? Asansol, Durgapur, Raniganj, these are coal belt areas. And tomorrow when there will be cry for clean energy, these are going to be the worst hit. Does West Bengal have an alternative arrangement for all those people who are going to lose jobs here? And then what is happening to Malda, Murshidabad, Bardhaman? What is happening in these areas? Why is there another big urban center not developing? And then, of course, lastly, there is animosity with the center. Even when Siddhartha Shankar Roy was the chief minister till 1977, the Congress had both the center as well as the West Bengal government. Even then, the Congress was not supporting West Bengal. And after that, you know it very well, how the CPIM and then Trinamool Congress have had their equations with no matter who has ruled the center. So neither the leftists nor the TMC have seen eye to eye with successive governments. This animosity has been perpetual. It has been ongoing. It has been extremely harmful to the people of the state. All they have to do is to look at Odisha. It is also ruled by a party which is not in the center, which has never been in the center, but it knows how to be good to its own people and get things done. That is what West Bengal has failed to do. So as a professional, I'll not tell you what the problems are. That is a very easy thing to do. I will now tell you point-wise what the expectations should be, and
But
irrespective of who wins.
please
The
be
first
brief.
is,
Please be brief, please.
yes, sir. The state needs to reverse the industrial decline. This is the first point that I have to take. The second thing, which is most important, is Bengalis should give up the sense of victimhood. They have to act as virtuosos. They have to embrace the new culture of industrialization. Bengal needs to invest massively in infrastructure, and particularly health and education. The education environment in the educational institutions need to be less toxic. The development and minoritism does not go hand in hand. This has to be understood. Development is not possible in an environment of corruption, right from the highest level, Sharoda scam, to the lowest level, the Tolabaji in the roads. And the perception of Bengal in country needs to change. And I really do not care who wins this election, but their job is cut out for them. They have to make Bengal more attractive for investment. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bhattacharya, for giving your very, very frank analysis of West Bengal, where he has analyzed in a very, very systematic way why the decline of West Bengal, which was one of the best state in the country. Thank you very much, Dr. Bhattacharya. Because of the paucity of time, I am not going to summarize what you have said. You have made very clear points. So now I would like to invite my next guest panelist, and he is Professor Om Prakash Singh. Professor Dr. Om Prakash Singh is MD FRCP, Edinburgh. He is the editor-in-chief of Indian Journal of Psychiatry. He is ex-head of the department secretary, NRS Medical College, Kolkata. Welcome, Professor Dr. Om Prakash Singh on our show. Professor Dr. Om Prakash Singh, you have heard what Dr. Rajiv Anand as well as what Dr. Surjit Bhattacharya has spoken about the topic. And so we would like to know from you, West Bengal elections. Professor Dr. Om Prakash Singh, please.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for inviting me on this show, Dr. Rajiv Anand, you. And I'm really, also, I welcome my fellow panelists. I'm really impressed by, of course, Dr. Surjit Bhattacharya, as he has clearly delineated what are the problems of West Bengal. The victimhood is the perception of being victimized is one of the core features which is coming into people's mind. But I will go to the realities, what is happening in West Bengal. Like you see, the other people are probably naturalized Bengalis who have settled in other states. And I'm reverse of that. My forefathers belong to Uttar Pradesh, and I'm born and brought up in West Bengal and settled here. And for us, a lot of work opportunity was there, so our forefathers came here. And I must say that for me, West Bengal has been very, very harmonious place. We have never felt any discrimination of any kind, and we have been very happy. But the problem now is different folds, and the elections, I will come to the elections. What has happened in West Bengal with exodus of industry, it has become turned into science. The cities have turned into, like we call Vridhashram. All the bright people are working in Mumbai or in Bangalore or in Delhi. And now we are also exporting the labor class also. All the people working in different projects all over India are probably from Bengal. So that is the huge exodus of people from Bengal working outside because there's no job opportunities here. So that is one of the major areas of concern. The second is and that is lead to another related thing. Since there is no private industry, the government doles are the main source of income. Why West Bengal is highest in Manrega, 100 days work? Because huge population of people are dependent on government doles. So all these schemes, welfare schemes, they are dependent on this because there is no alternative. So it is not something to be proud of that we are first in this providing job in 100 days work. So this is the only source of income for the people. And that's why the government controls every sphere of people's life. And that has been systematically controlled for long 30, 40 years. So be education, be job, your living is dependent on government, which government is. As Dr. Rajiv Anand is saying, or Dr. Bhattacharya is saying, who is coming to the government? We are not important, but for people of Bengal, it is very important who is coming to government, because how they are going to live in their home is being determined by who comes into the government. So that is the control the government have over people's life. I talk with my colleagues. They say that, okay, I am working in a medical college. Whoever government comes and goes, I'm not much affected. I may like someone, I may not like someone. But West Bengal, it is not the picture. If you are not in tune with the government, you will not get projects. You will not be allowed to work properly. You will be hounded, you will be transferred, you will be, similarly, your life will become hell. So that's why it is very important for people who comes into the government. So that is one issue. The second is, so this total control over the people's life by the government in different ways. And that's why it becomes very difficult for people to dislodge an existing government. Left Front ruled for 34 years. Before that, Congress have almost 30 years. So TMC has already completed 10 years, because your ration card on which you will get your benefits, all these things are dependent on your local people who will allow you whether you get it or not. So you are dependent on them. You have to go to rallies called by them. So this total control is something which is happening, and to break this, and that's why so much violence is there. Because for every sphere, there is a huge sort of competition or fight. Who is going to control your life? It is not only your job or anything else. So that is happening. And violence is a hallmark of Bengal elections. Not only elections, we do 24/7 politics throughout the year. Everything, every discussion ventures around politics only. So this violence is part of West Bengal culture of elections for now, for a long time. And still, to challenge the ruling party, people expect that another party should be strong enough to challenge them in ground level, in violence. They should be able to match them. That is the thing which will determine whether elections are going which way. So this is the basic premises of West Bengal now. Because panchayat elections has been very, very brutal. And even people who are supporters of TMC government were not allowed to vote. They were told that we will vote for you. People have to vote even in front of the people, in front of the agents. They have to put the button. And the whole persons who are conducting polls has to be silent, because they cannot go to their home. I have a friend who was in central government employee. He has a call prior to the election that, okay, you are a central government employee, but you live here. We know that you live here, so please behave. So this is the level of violence in West Bengal elections. And if this is not controlled, people's mandate will never be going to be reflected. So that is one area. And this election, there are 2 to 3 themes in this election. One theme is Mamata Banerjee has been projecting is outsider or Bengali pride. That is one theme which has came after success in Lok Sabha, after Eli's breakup of Vidyasagar statue by BJP people. And that led to, it has been always a sub-theme. So Bengali pride and the slogan of Jai Bangla. Another theme is Bangla's May. Mamata Banerjee is trying to put this election as a female who is helpless, who has fracture, who has been beaten up, versus the all-powerful BJP and Modi and Shah, the most powerful people in the land. So this is another subtext which is being played. So these are the subtext on which this election is going to be fought. And if you see the manifesto of TMC, you will find there's no talk of development. It is providing doles. We will give you loan, we will give you money, 5,000, 1,000, and all these things. So we'll give you daily and you have to be dependent on us. This is this theme. But somehow this getting money without doing anything appeals to all of us Indians, and it works in elections. So again, this is another theme which has to be countered, and we have to see whether other parties come out with development oriented budgets or not. We have the best teachers in West Bengal, I say most proudly, but education hubs have moved to Bhubaneswar. All our children are going to read there, going to Bhubaneswar. Even health hub is moving to Bhubaneswar from Kolkata. Though all over India, one of the best doctors, again I say, are from Bengal. But we are not able to provide atmosphere here. So that has to be changed. And people's will has to be reflected in votes. For that, EC has an extra responsibility. Whoever wins, but it should be the people's mandate. That is the most important thing in Bengal now, because whatever the elections are happening, they will be acrimonious, full of falsehood, full of dramas, because we in Bengal are emotional and we respond to emotions rather than cold facts. So these are, as Dr. Bhattacharya has already said, even in terms of same government in Congress governments, we have been anti-center, and we have never a government which is aligned with a central government. And even if we have, we are going to protest, and that is the one of the major campaign issue of TMC of Bahiragato, those who are outsiders and hurting Bengal pride. But two or things are happening because people do not have job, people are working outside of West Bengal. In fact, the whole Corona episode lead to the
Please be brief.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 1 minute. People realize that how many people are working outside and coming to intelligentsia. They are never Bengali intelligentsia is now never interested in Bengal's problems. They are always interested in what they are getting chairmanship of which academy and what money they can extract from that. So that is the thing which is intelligentsia have come to. And now this again, and another feature is the dominance of stars, film stars in this election, because they have always won in last two elections. So both parties have, or all the parties have put them in. So how that is going to play will determine this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. O.P. Singh, for giving your, again, a very, very frank analysis. And because you are at the ground zero, you know the ground reality, so you have given the analysis definitely impartially without favoring any of the party, but you have very beautifully and analyzed the things. Thank you very much, Dr. Singh. Now I would like to move to my next panelist, and he is Mr. Mrigang Saha. Mr. Saha is the Chief Executive Officer and founder of MKS Technologies Inc. Lucknow, a first-gen business entrepreneur from city of Nawabs, Lucknow. He is having passion for adventure sports and motorcycle tourer along with the photography during travels. He is a follower of Ramakrishna and Vivekanand and also been associated with Art of Living for last more than 15 years. He is the founding member of Business Network International, Lucknow, Northern Region, and mentor for one of the chapter. He is undertaking designs, planning, and execution of electrical solutions for home office and industries on turnkey basis in customized made. Welcome, Mr. Mrigang Saha on our show. Mr. Saha, you have heard the earlier panelists, Dr. Rajiv Anand, Dr. Bhattacharya, as well as Dr. Singh. Now we would like to know from you the West Bengal election. Mr. Mrigang Saha, please.
First of all, very good morning to all the viewers and the panelists, and Dr. Lal, thank you for inviting me, and Dr. Rajiv Anand especially, who has asked me to join this panel. Though I am not one of the experts on the election matters or something which is to be taken into Bengal politics, as most of us are being called as Pravashi, people who have migrated over the time. So my parentals are from Darjeeling, of course, and I have been in various part of the country. My primary education is in Kashmir, Srinagar itself, and I'm a son to UP now. So my professional and educational career has been all over in UP. Of course, whenever we get a feature about Bengal, Bengal is a very peace-loving, very soothing people set of people we have, because I have a very deep connect there, and I regularly visit my family, friends, and I'm absolutely fond of what Bengal offers in terms of food, culture, and whatnot. So it is every time I go and I rediscover something new. Uh, the only thing that Bengal comes into discussion matter uh, across the country is during the election time. Though we are so culturally rich, we are so proud of ourselves. I'm a proud Bengali by that matter. Uh, but the problem is that apart from politics, we cannot deviate anything into any other subject. Even I have seen the club culture is very good, deep into it, but the discussion point is always election and the politics, even in among the family members also. uh, Probably you and I may have a different point of opinion in terms of politics, how politics operates, or the ideology. It should not be any conflicting matter, but we are so passionate being Bengalis, we really get into too hard. Even we don't leave lashing out each other. So idea is, I realize slowly, political parties are not something that we should be taking side. Probably, maybe I can rephrase that in a different way. Uh, Political party are organization of their own. It's like, if I sum it up, like I run a company and I have my own ideology and system to work in my organization. Similarly, all the political parties are also an organization. So
Miss Rinki, you have heard Dr. Rajivanand, advocate. You have heard Dr. Rajivanand, you have heard Dr. Bhattacharya, you have heard Dr. Singh. Now, we would like to know from you the West Bengal elections. Time is bit now cut because of
I
the
understand.
this thing. So you try to finish it in 5 minutes or so. Advocate Rinki Dev, please. And I will just introduce about her because of the confusion. I could not introduce. Advocate Rinki Dev is a leading corporate lawyer. She is a senior legal at Lona Ventures Private Limited, Mumbai. She leads corporate practice. She was earlier associated with leading firms such as Vox Law and Comfort Bailey and Company, where she had extensively worked on general corporate capital markets and like areas. She has been working in the Supreme Court and High Court, handling matters ranging from civil and criminal laws to matrimonial matters. Advocate Rinki Dev is also proficient in advising, preparing documentation necessary for business structuring, dispute resolution, protection of the client's intellectual property rights, raising funds through equity investment and debt financing with its documentation, market and competition laws. Welcome, Advocate Rinki Dev. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Lalgol, sir. Thank you so much, Dr. Rajiv Anand, sir, Dr. Surajit Bhattacharya, sir, Professor Om Prakash Singh, and Migrant Saha. Thank you very much for giving us insight on West Bengal Assembly elections. Yes, when it comes on West Bengal Assembly elections, the big question is who will win. Upcoming election will be an epic battle between the two India's top political leaders, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji and our Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee. They both are sharp political leaders, smart, and they have full control over their respective political parties. Power and office is their strength. And while Banerjee allows her nephew Abhishek Banerjee with some small power, Modi ji also has Amit Shah. Both Modi ji and Mamata Banerjee gets riled up very easily. Mamata Banerjee likes to portray herself as a street fighter in Hawaii chappal, rubber slippers, while Modi ji, on the other hand, is extremely conscious of his attire. The long flowing white beard has set off much political buzz if it is just cultivated for West Bengal elections. Moving on, we will we will just go through the major events which would have, the good or bad result on the assembly elections. West Bengal was the first state to pass resolution against NRC in September 2019. The resolution of NRC was supported by Congress CPIM but was boycotted by BJP. However, 4 months before assembly elections, the BJP has officially dropped its national request in West Bengal, after which BJP is looking to score victory in the state and outs Mamata Banerjee 10-year TMC government. According to BJP insiders, the decision to drop NRC from the poll pitch follows a recent ground level review by the leaders that suggested the party might lose the steam if it goes ahead with NRC. However, BJP insists it's committed to starting preliminary work for the implementation of the Citizenship Amendment Act. What is CAA? CAA is basically seek to ease Indian citizenship for immigrants belonging to minority communities. And NRC is basically aimed at identifying and deporting illegal immigrants. Together, these tools were seen as a means to expel Muslim immigrants from India. But however, in Assam, we saw thousands of Hindus were moved out of NRC due to some technical issues. Now, this issue BJP cannot face or cannot make such mistakes in Bengal. Therefore, BJP has given up on NRC while given up on NRC completely in West Bengal. However, West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee has already made it an election issue, and in public has been addressing and criticizing it as BJP for seeking to divide the people. The BJP in Assam is still dealing the aftermath of NRC. It does not matter what they want and what they have planned. Mamata Banerjee has already made it an issue. We'll move on to the next issue, which is Suvendra Adhikari, in BJP's candidate. He said his father would also be present at PM's rally. Adhikari Senior has been in TMC since its very inception, but ever since his son switched sides, he has been ambiguous about his support for CM Mamata Banerjee. There are many allegations that he's a traitor, he's against the party, he shouldn't have at this age left the party, has been made against each other. But how well will this be taken by the public? We will get to know after the results. TMC is focusing its entire campaign around Mamata Banerjee, a strategy that has been devised by keeping in mind almost 50% of voters in the state. BJP seemed to have placed a meticulously planned election strategy months in advance. However, for the BJP party, which had limited presence in the state for decades, Bengal holds paramount importance since it is missing link for the domination of the East. Well aware of the challenge at hand, TMC, which has now been in power for nearly 10 years, faces anti-incumbency, has out to turn the election narrative into an insider versus outsider, pushing the idea that BJP has brought the people from the outside who do not understand the culture of West Bengal. For BJP, winning Bengal is very crucial as the party has never won the state, which has the third highest number of seats in the Lok Sabha. A win will definitely be a big push for party in the term of 2024 Lok Sabha polls. BJP has made its list of main issues to target Mamata government. The main issues include the corruption in local level, weakening the democracy in the state, issue of illegal immigrants, and of course, strong allegation of Muslim appeasement. All these issues are already repeatedly highlighted by BJP in the social media campaign. Now, the state unit also has National IT Cell Chief strong backing to formulate an attractive social media strategy to polarize the voters in BJP's favor. Similarly, Trinamool has been launching many programs for the party, including Didi Ke Bolo and Banglar Gorbo Mamata, Bengal's Pride Mamata. And recently it launched a new drive from the handle name Make Yourselves Safe from BJP. No doubt, in today's age, social media has become a necessary tool to target the voters, particularly the young generation, which also include new voters. In this case of West Bengal Assembly elections, both TMC and BJP are heavily investing in social media to push their own narratives. The digital campaign is expected to become more. The digital campaign is expected to become more intense as the days of elections will keep drawing. It is really a very, very complicated question and it will be very wrong to say any confirmation on any party's name with approximate numbers as to who will win the election. As politics is all about uncertainty, here's no one is companion forever or no one's is enemy forever. So here in Bengal, we currently have TMC in power led by Mamata Banerjee. But the 221 assembly poll will be a tight battle between ruling party and the BJP. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Advocate Rinkesh Dev. I will be coming next to you after in the second round. Definitely, I am going to ask a legal question to you. as you have mentioned to me yesterday that you want any legal question to be faced. So definitely legal question will come to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
I am going to, if Mr. Mrigank has already joined, I am sure now he's, although he's an IT person himself, but there is lots of problem in the net. Yes, Mr. Mrigank, your view about the West Bengal elections.
Yes, unfortunately, I'm sorry, but I'll keep it brief and short. Uh, Actually, as I was saying, I'm not the expert to talk on this, especially on the elections and all the BJP on Mamta Didi issues. But what I have come across understanding is that there is a less of sense for the parties who are working for a as a political institute for a well-being of their own people, like the state people. So idea is that we should not be focusing on the party, rather than there has to be a strong opposition which balances out the entire democracy. The problem is that we are always talking about problem. We are not talking about the solution. We are always in a fight for a power position, and किसी को नीचे करना है, किसी को ऊपर करना है. It doesn't work that way. The politics is itself a very social format of set of work. Since I have my education background from UP, we have a one chapter that I would like to mention when I was in a primary school. It was called Calendar Kalakar. There's a chapter called Calendar Kalakar. So the chapter was based on the why we don't have leaders on our calendar as we used to have it in the earlier times, like Lal Bahadur Shastri, Jawaharlal Nehru, Mahatma Gandhi. But today we don't put some individual, political individual, as our part of our home on our calendars. The reason is that the leadership quality has gone down day by day. The moral has gone down, and the entire process to work is towards the benefit of their own, or we are citing political ideas with a certain party that we think we should go with, but it is not the actual virtue that we get out of this election. Elections are for the society, for us, for the entire countrymen, the statesmen. So it has to be a responsible act. So whatever quality of politics we want, we have to decide from the day of voting, that what we want to vote for, whom we want to vote for. So very important is that we should have a quantification or qualification system as well for the politics also. People who are coming for politics, they are decision makers, they are lawmakers, they change policies, they bring policies, they implement new ideas, and those are the driving force for the entire economy, entire people, social economical people. So the quantification is very necessary, and of course it is also a very excellent profession. So why not professional people? So till then we have associated political people with the goons, mafia, or the strong arms. But politics is, I believe, is more than that. There are a lot of things that influence people life, and the history itself. Talking about the Bengal elections, there is also again a very saddening thing that everything is around the violence, around the chaos, around the fight and the tussle. As Dr. Rajiv said in the earlier post, I like the term that we are not contesting the elections, we are fighting the election. The fight has to be gone off, and it has to be contesting on the basis of valued information, value that you add to the society, to the culture, because that is what we are ruining ourselves. As before my connection broke down, I was speaking that we are trying to take side whenever there is a political discussion, but it won't help us taking a side with the political party's individual thought line. It is us. The election is happening for every one of us. It is going to impact each and every one of our life, the society, the progress. Everything gets diminished if we don't vote rightfully, correctly, and we don't pick right people. I think that would be all from my end.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Thank you very much, Mr. Saha, for giving a new prospect about the politics. I am sure that people who are watching the show, they got the different ideas and different views of all our panelists who have given their views. Now, my question round starts. Now, my first question goes to Dr. Rajiv Anand. Dr. Rajiv Anand, do you think that the top leaders or the leaders or politicians become very insensitive, like the incident which has happened with Ms. Mamta Banerjee? Whether right or wrong, the statements from the top leaders should have come to say at least that thing has happened. Because being a doctor, you know, this parts of the ligaments of the legs is a very, very sensitive issue. If anybody wants to try to do it a drama and try to hit that part, if it would have been bit more, then she would have been in the plaster for at least 3-4 months. Because I know I have suffered the ligament torn, how painful it is. And even if it was not, at least a courtesy says that all the top leaderships of BJP, Congress, left, everyone should have a courtesy to say that what's happened is bad. Whether accidental, whether it was an attack. We have become so insensitive because we are only want to, as one of the panelists says, we only want to defeat. We are not interested that person has been hurt or not. What you say about this, Dr. Anand?
Mr. Lal, I fully agree with you. And I said in my opening remark, the election is becoming a very, very interesting and amusing scene because we all responsible citizens, we would like to waste our anger and frustration on politicians who are insensitive in general. Do they care for people? Do they care for civilized people? Do they care for educated people? Or are we being taken as merely a number? That whatever they do, whatever hose, whatever they cry, hose, mar gaya, gir gaya, chot lag gayi. Do they believe that we are intelligent people? We can see through the game. The social media is full of different kind of pictures about sometimes fracture, sometimes bandage, sometimes in left leg, sometimes in right leg. I'm not expert to know because I'm not sitting next to the person concerned. But let our leaders not make politics or election as mimicry or as comedy. We all are educated. As we are going more and more civilized, let there be more finesse in the election. Over to you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Rajivan. I will just clarify one thing about the right and left leg plaster. It was clarified and it was fact-checked that all were faked social media things. It was not, it is photoshopped. The fracture or whatsoever the hurt in which leg it was original, it was still there. The whatsoever the photos have come in the social media, it was all photoshopped. So it is a very, very unfortunate part in our political scenario that because of the elections, we are even photoshopping for a woman, which is also very unfortunate. Whether we are going to vote for her or not, but we should not do such type of thing, at least in whether it's a election time or not. Thank you very much, Dr. Rajiv Anand. Now my question goes to Dr. Bhattacharya. Dr. Bhattacharya, we are talking that center and state, you have also mentioned. What center is doing? Center is giving in the budget, if you see this year budget, approximately 50,000 crores for the railways. And they claim that the last time also they have given, but it was not utilized. So they again do it. And they are very, very clear that it is not going to be implemented. Everybody knows. Only because of the poll, no budget for Punjab, for railways, no budget for those states which are not having any elections. So when everybody knows that it's a politics, when whosoever party in the center, they will just come out with the doles to just see to it that the voters will feel, okay, 50,000 crores has come for the 48,000 some odd crores for the railway budget from the central government. Central government is good. Or so much money is coming from the TMC free of cost, say 1,000 rupees or 500 rupees. So we will vote. Are we going so low in our elections that we are not bothered for the public at large, just we are fooling them. That's why in my initial remark, I said, why not manifesto or anything should become a mandate that if you are putting anything in manifesto, it should be treated in case if you will not fulfill in 5 years, you will be debarred. The party should be debarred to contest the election next time. What you say about this, Dr. Bhattacharya?
So you think that those people who take their manifesto seriously are going to be rewarded by the electorate? That means you are already declaring that 2024 election is BJP's election. Because start from the beginning. Ram Mandir has been constructed. Article 370 has been removed. Right? CAA is there. Uniform Civil Code already, a PIL has been, 4 PILs have been filed as a preamble to Uniform Civil Code. So we are marching towards that. It is this very implementation of the manifesto that is bothering the opposition. The opposition has till date used manifestos as false advertisements. BJP, on the other hand, has come and used the manifesto as a blueprint for changing the society. And it is this change in the society that is being objected tooth and nail. So you may think that manifesto is a very sacrosanct thing. Even the BJP thinks it is. But the opposition has always used manifesto to fool the people. And even the voters know this.
No,
They do not.
yes, Dr. Bhattacharya, yes, you are right. But why I'm saying is, recently concluded elections at Bihar, the BJP manifesto promised that vaccine will be given free of cost to every citizen of Bihar. They are not giving free. And the manifesto you read, and it was declared. So I'm not saying, what I'm saying is whichever party, whether it's a BJP, Congress, or TMC, or JDS, or whosoever the left, whatever they are writing, they should follow that particular manifesto.
Sir,
Thank you.
about vaccine, I have just one thing to say. Honestly, if a thing is offered free, our people undervalue it.
Dr.
There would have
Bhattacharya,
been no.
Dr. Bhattacharya, there is a discussion we will discuss. We know that we have got the polio and everything free of charge. We never paid for any of the vaccine till now, but now we have to pay. Anyway, that we will discuss in the next. I am going to keep a very soon this discussion also about the vaccine. Now my question goes to, thank you, Ms. Dr. Bhattacharya. My question goes to Dr. Singh. Dr. Singh, do you think Bengalis are more politically enriched? That's why this 8 phases, elections, violence, drama, allegations, etc. What do you think about this?
No, political enrichment is of course there, because there has been the fighters in freedom fighters and others. So that is one issue. Violence is similarly not related to, I will say, political enrichment. Violence cannot be called a political enrichment. Bengal people has been always politically very conscious. And I must say that fooling the voters, Indian voters has been quite intelligent and have always voted in favor of themselves. So that is not the issue. Issue is whether we are allowed to vote. As Mr. Saha was saying that
Dr. Singh, my question, Dr. Singh, sorry, my question you have, sorry, no time. Otherwise, the other will not be able to speak. That's why I'm saying the Bengalis are very political and rich, or you can say that they anyway, you have replied it. Now my question goes to Mr. Saha. Mr. Saha, do you think refresher scores are required, as you have mentioned that politicians should be professional? Do you think the refresher score should also be there for politicians, as now government has suggested the refresher scores for the IAS and IPS and all those officers are working, even for the doctors? Why not a refresher scores for the politician? They should know what is the moral value, how to fight elections and how to control and how to govern. What do you say about this, Mr. Saha?
Absolutely, sir. As most of panelists are doctors, and I believe till their career, they will be always attending conference, learning, training programs, and even for other professions also, even from our profession and other professions also. We keep on learning, we keep on adding value. So why not politicians?
Okay.
Because-
Yes, thank you very much. Now my question goes to Advocate Rinki Dev. A very, very crucial and very important question to you. My question to you is, in case elections are postponed due to COVID, I'm talking of West Bengal because it's in 8th phase. Others will be finished as early. Due to COVID, what will be the fate of government legally? Because this tenure of this government is going to end on 30th of May. Suppose central government or the election commission decide to postpone the elections because now COVID is increasing, they can postpone the election. If they postpone the election, the president rule will be implemented or not. Legally, I'm asking, or this government, same government, will be allowed to continue for some time. Advocate Rinki, please.
As far as my knowledge, I believe the same government will be allowed to continue. If for any reason it will get postponed, and I believe there are no reasons that I see right now that it will for any reason would get postponed because of COVID, because a lot of precautions and everything has been taken care of.
Advocate Rinki, I think we have to see as per the constitution, because
Please check.
as per the law very clearly that after
Okay.
30th of May to 2021, this government cannot continue
Cannot.
in a single day. So this is a very, very crucial point which is coming in the mind. I am sure you please consult and you can put your words afterwards.
Okay, maybe I stand
Because you wanted a
corrected.
legal
Yes,
question, that's why I put a legal question to you. Thank you very much. All of you have given a very, very vibrant and knowledgeable things about the West Bengal. I'm sure all the viewers are going to be enriched today. Such a very, very heavy duty and knowledgeable discussion. Today's program has been live telecasted by. Now, before I will end, I will just ask now one very, very simple question. One answer only. In 2 seconds, Dr. Rajiv Anand, which government on 2nd May?
Triangle, Trishanku, uncertainty.
Uncertainty. Okay. Dr. Bhattacharya, which government? TMC, BJP, left?
No, sir. TMC, Congress left together.
Okay. Dr. Singh, please unmute. Please keep yourself unmute right now. Time is not there. Yes. Which government?
It may be like Dr. Bhattacharya all together. It may
Okay.
be grand.
No, all together means BJP also with the TMC and Congress?
No.
Okay.
BJP against all.
Okay. Mr. Shah.
Maybe no clear mandate.
So again, the same what you are going with the yes, Advocate Rinki.
No clear mandate.
Okay, so the views are very clear that it is going to be hung assembly. We will come to know on 2nd of May whether today's panelists, their views are correct or the results which are coming from the EVMs are going to be different or the same. Thank you very much. And today's program has been live telecasted by V4 News, Global TV, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV, News Gaon se Samvad Sarokar News, as well as to our show live on Facebook and YouTube. And our endeavor is to enlighten you with a new topic every day. And tomorrow, our topic is Media Conference with Lal Goyal, role of youth in time management. Yes, that is a very, very important topic because nowadays the time management is required, and especially the youth whether they have an important role or not. And our chief guest for tomorrow's program is Dr. Arundhati Govind Hosakeri. She's diploma, she's MSc, MEd, MA, PhD education, NDHS, ATCL, and so many degrees. Eminent educationist, consultant, Cambridge International Schools, Mumbai. She will be joined with 7 youth guests, and they will be discussing about the role of youth in time management. Please tune in tomorrow. Thank you very much, Dr. Rajiv Anand. Thank you very much, Dr. Bhattacharya. Thank you very much, Dr. Singh. Thank you very much, Mr. Shah. And thank you very much, Advocate Rinki, for joining us and giving your views. And thank you, all the viewers.